This GiveIt Forms video is for Donorfy. Please be aware this demo may include features outside of your band. Right, let's put a constituent address field into our form here. This one's a little bit beefier than the others, so it's got some dedicated attention to it here. The first thing we're going to need to do is put in a visible label. That's going to render on the front end, as would a sub label, but I'm going to leave that for now. I'm going to draw your attention next to this trio of checkboxes. They work in conjunction with one another. Neither is ticked on by default, and that will be the case. You can't have none of these ticked. At least one of these needs to be ticked, and it's designed for that reason. What is it in relation to? It's the house building number. Donorfy has a house building name and number field in its address profile for constituents. Over the years, I've come to learn that some organizations like that. Some organizations would rather map address line 1 to that field, in which case that would be the checkbox you select in this configuration. So that what's presented to the end user, your form user, is an address line 1 field. But when we push that data over to Donorfy, it's actually the house building number where that line gets written. Line 1 would therefore be skipped. Line 2 would then take over as line 2 once again. The other option, though, is to display the house building number. That is in conjunction with line 1. So to tick this option on, you'll be presenting to your end user both a house name or number field and then an address line 1 field. And of course, in Donorfy's mapping, those bits of data will go to both of those respective fields. But as I say, neither is also what's selected here by default, meaning that house building number doesn't enter the equation at all. The very first address field that a user will see is address line 1, and that will map to address line 1 in Donorfy. An address field is always required, and the country list for the country drop down, you can set what turns up in there, specify your countries there in this forms setting area. There's an earlier video demonstrating how to do that, but this will click you through. So we'll save that. Now there's an additional feature for constituent address fields, an advanced feature. To enable that, we're going to have to head over to our global settings. Okay, so in global settings, pivot over to the integrations tab. Scroll past all of these fields, and down at the bottom we have a locate API key. If you put an API key, a legitimate one, from your locate account into here, you'll be able to make use of the address lookup field. So locate is an address lookup service, and to interface with it, it requires an API handshake. You'll get a key to enable that handshake, and that key needs to be dropped into there. So the moment that you add your key into there and save it, that means when I return to my form now and open my address fields options panel, I now have available to me enable address lookup field, which again is optional. If I tick it on and then ask to elect what my trigger field is going to be, the choices there are address line 1 or postcode. Depending on which of these I select will determine the order that they then appear in the block of fields on the user side. Basically, we're asking the user to begin typing into either of these fields, whichever one I select, to begin performing the address search. So we'll set that to postcode, save the form, and let's have a look at the preview mode, see how that renders. As you can see, because we've elected postcode as being our trigger point for the address search, it's the first thing that's asked of the user, because it's going to auto-complete based on the things I type here. It would help if I type something legitimate. So here we are. If I make that selection right now, all the fields get populated with that address. So the address search feature is something that you can enable as well.